What's up, amigos? Welcome back to the podcast. So today we have another special episode for you guys. But first, as always, let me introduce myself. My name is Anthony. I'm one of the hosts of the show, and always to my left, the beautiful Cindy.
Oh, that's sweet.
Hey.
Thank you. What's up, everybody? What's up, amigos?
And before we get too far into anything, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button or the subscribe button, or both, and hit that little bell over there to make sure you get notifications every time we post a new podcast like this one. So, without any further ado, today we're sitting down with one of my homies, one of my jiujitsu buddies, and probably the thing that I'm most curious about, really, and why we wanted to have you on the show is you are actually a fireman. So, yeah, I feel like I don't really know what else to say there. But Tyler Dilley, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Glad to be here. I was pretty nervous before I came on, as we were talking about, but I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I know it is always kind of strange reaching out and just be like, hey, man, do you want to come and sit down with us and talk about your job or whatever it is that you're doing? So thank you for giving us the time. So,
yeah, seriously. Thank you for coming on. And welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, man. So we'll just get right into it, man. And honestly, I mean, being a fireman, it already makes me curious. I feel like that's something that like a lot of people dream about as like a kid, like, you know what, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a cop, or, you know, whatever. But I feel like fireman is probably one of the first thing that comes up in my mind. How did you kind of get into all this, man?
So as a kid, you know, that was one of my dreams. But as I got older, I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I was looking at other routes. Backstory a little bit. I grew up racing dirt bikes.
Really?
From like 8 years old to I think I was 18 or 19.
Wow.
And I always saw the medical side of that, you know, usually trauma with my broken bones or friends and stuff like that. Had a lot of close friends that were big racers as well. But they either grew up into the fire service or their family was already in the fire service. And I had, you know, my friend's dad was like, hey, you got to come do a ride along with us. Come, you know, see what it's like, see if you enjoy it. And I really enjoyed it, but I hated school growing up. Hated it.
Me too.
So I had zero desire to go to college, and I thought I had to go to college to get into fire. So right out of high school, 2-3 years, I was pretty much lost. Quit racing from some injuries. Had no idea what I was going to do. I was working for my dad. He owns a printing company down in Denver.
Okay.
Working for him, knew that's not what I wanted to do. And another friend of ours that was a racer, he was like, hey, here's a class. It's 2 weeks long, up in the mountains. You're going to go hike around. You're going to, you know, for wildland. You're a super easy class, really fun. Go do it and see what you think. And I was hooked instantly. I had like $500 to my name at the time. Not enough for a hotel room up there in Frisco. So I went up there in my truck, brought a tent, and it was at a high school during this early spring. So I just camped out on the lawn, snow on the ground still. And I fell in love. Yeah, I fell in love with it right away.
Frisco, that's a Copper Mountain. That's like my favorite place to go snowboarding.
Yeah, great.
So they get crazy snow there. That's the middle. That's what, 3 hours from here?
Dang.
That's deep in the mountains, dude.
Yeah. So did it. Fell in love with it. He was like, all right, when you come, you know, and I was living in Arvada at the time. He's like, when you get back, call me and I'll find a place for you to go. So I call him like, here's my information. He's like, great. There's this place up in Kersey. It's just east of Greeley. And I pull it up on my phone. I'm like, what? That's like an hour drive from my house. You know, I'm living it with my parents at the time still. I was like, well, I'll go check it out, see what it's about.
How old are you at the time?
19.
Dang, okay.
19 maybe, just turned 20, something like that. So go up there. I call ahead, I guess, to do like a over-the-phone interview type thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, hey, we're going to do trainings. At the time, we were doing every Monday night, the entire department would get together and train. So go out there, do like a, you know, see how it feels, meet everybody, fell in love with it there. And I thought I was going to be doing wildland with them. Turns out they didn't have a wildland team at the time, but they were accepting volunteers. And if I joined, they'd put me through Emt School and get my Fire 1 certification, which is not too many departments do that anymore, unless they're big career departments. So got on. They put me through our own academy, like a semester long. It was Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and some Saturdays in there. kind of went through that. And then I went through EMT school, finished EMT school, but again, I hated studying. So I didn't take my EMT test at the end, my national registry. So I was just focused on wildland. Like that's all I wanted to do was hike around the mountains, fight fire that way. So the next year, that same chief that got me onto the class, he was like, hey, we're hiring. You don't need your EMT. Come try out for us. So I go down there, I get the job, and all summer long we were gone. It was great. I loved it. Came back winter. We, typically work 6 to 8 months out of the year, and then you have all winter off.
What?
Yeah, to do whatever you want as a wildland team. So
That's nice.
yeah,
Dang.
yeah, a lot of skiing, a lot of snowboarding.
Oh, nice.
But then I was still volunteering, so I'd be working my night shifts out in Kersey, and then would travel down throughout the week to do my shifts at the place in Boulder, not Boulder Fire, for anybody listening.
Okay.
So I did that for a few years, and then met my wife, and I was like, all right, starting to get serious. I need to figure out a different avenue, so I'm not gone all summer long. So I go back through EMT school, do the whole thing again, get my EMT, and then I join a hotshot crew in 2015. So there's like 3 different styles of firefighting.
Okay.
And you have engines, which are typically on a truck with water. You have hotshot crews, which are like a 20-ish man team. And you drive to the fire, but then you hike in, and everything you do is with chainsaws and hand tools, digging line, cutting trees, stuff like that. And then you have like the elite of the elite is smoke jumpers. Those are the guys that guys and girls jump out of the plane, and they land, and then they hike in, and they're rugged.
Wow.
Rugged people, yeah.
Okay. And this is all specifically, that's not even just wildfires. That's like, 'cause if
That's
you're
like
running
all the
engines, you're doing
categories.
like city stuff, right?
No, so all the big trucks you see around town, those
Yeah.
are going to be like type 1 engines, structure engines.
Okay.
But when you get on the line up in the mountains,
It's different.
so like type 3s usually. Sometimes there's big engines up there too for big, like Estes Park last year had a bunch of big trucks. So those are like the 3 main. You have the smoke jumpers that are the hardest people out there, and then typically like hot shots and hand crews. And a hot shot is just like a how do you say it? Like a ranking system. So like a type 1 hot shot crew, and then you have hand crews that are badass dudes too, and then your engines and stuff. So I did that for a season in 2015 out of Craig, Colorado, and we went all over the western states, really, Northwest and all that.
And you're still like volunteering at this time, or?
My department at the time let me take 6 months leave.
Okay.
They're like, hey, this is a great opportunity for you. Go ahead and in the department I was working at, Rocky Mountain at the time, they let me go too. So like, hey, we're still going to keep you employed here. You're not going to get a paycheck from us, but with the understanding that you'll come back in the next couple of years.
Wow.
So I did that for 6 months, and I really enjoyed it. It was just, again, I didn't want to be away from the family.
Yeah.
Didn't have a kid at the time, but I knew we were going to get married soon and going down that avenue. So kind of reeled it back in, went back to Rocky, said I appreciate it, really enjoyed it. I'm just going to stick here. So did that for a few years. After, was it 16, I think in 17, my buddy and I were like, hey, let's start up a tree removal company.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Had a decent amount of experience with chainsaws. I'm not scared of heights. And I had an idea of ropes from what I thought before getting into this, So after 16, said, I'm out here. I'm going to try and get picked up with Platte Valley out in Kersey. And we started up a tree company.
All right.
Kind of took 2017 off from forest fires. We started that up, and we're like, he was trying for his first kid. I was getting married that year. Like, all right, we're gonna go balls to the wall until one of us has a kid, and then we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
Late 2017, he has his first kid. I'm like,
Oh,
this
geez.
is still doable. He's doing all the bidding. We had a couple employees working for us, and then 2017 still, I ended up falling and breaking my back.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So that put a damper on everything. I had gone through all of the testing out in Platte Valley, and they had to push my date back like 2 months for me to heal to get online for work.
Yeah.
Continued climbing after I was healed, got full time out there, and I think another year went by, 2 years went by, and then we had our first kid. And I was like, there's no way that we're going to be able to make full-time fire and full-time trees work, even with our employees. So we sold out the company, and then just kind of pursued fire full-time, the both of us.
Okay.
So that was like the quick backstory of how I got in.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of things there.
Yeah.
But you know what? I feel like that's really interesting because I feel like that's something that I kind of struggle with, and probably you too. But being able to kind of like know how to like manage your time, especially, you know, at that time when you were facing, you know, running a business, but then also trying to pursue something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, it was really challenging. Like I said, so our shifts out there are 48-96, 2 days on straight, 4 days off usually.
Wow.
And then we would get off and we would roll straight into doing trees for 3 to 4 days straight, and that was it. So,
Dude.
yeah, it was.
That's such a wild schedule.
It was pretty rough for the few years we did it. 3 years, I think it was total.
You even said that you took 6 months off at a time. Like, what do you do for 6 months, dude? That's a lot of time.
I enjoy like dabbling in all sorts of different jobs just to kind of get a feel for what people do. So I worked for Monster Energy.
Oh.
Yep, they had a big truck.
Oh.
2,500.
Yeah.
And we drive that
Nice.
around and give out free drinks.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Sounds-
role
that
models?
sounds pretty cool.
yeah, exactly.
Dude.
Yeah, they'd give us a list of where we had to hit, and we would just be gone for 8 hours.
What the hell?
From the Springs to Fort Collins to wherever they want. And all we had to do was take
Nice.
pictures and take some quotes.
Dang, that sounds pretty chill.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And then I worked in a funeral home for a little bit.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
For pickups and removals.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, my wife's best friend worked there for a long time. So I was always curious about it, so she got me a job, and I worked there for like a year and a half or so, just to kind of see.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, were you like kind of doing that just to kind of experiment to make sure that, you know, what you kind of want to do is what you want to do, or?
No, I definitely knew that fire was my route, but I've always been curious about all sorts of different jobs.
Yeah.
Like I think my dream job would be Mike Rowe's dirty jobs,
Yeah.
but not just dirty, right? Like I want to
every
dabble
job.
in everything.
Every
yeah.
job.
Yeah, I think it's great what he does. I think
That's
it's awesome.
dope. I love that reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting for sure. I don't know if I could work at a funeral home, if I'm
I
being
know.
completely honest.
Whew.
It was, yeah. It had its ups and downs for sure.
Yeah. Were you still pretty young at the time? Like, how old are you here?
21, 22.
Because you had just had your first kid, correct?
Yeah, we had him just over 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I was 28 when we had him.
Okay.
Did that change your life?
Yeah,
Yeah?
big time. The first year was kind of boring. Like, you know, it's all about mom at that stage, right? You know, like,
Yeah.
so I didn't mind being gone on fires because I still do. We have a wildland team. So we have a truck or 2 trucks, and we have personnel that kind of deploy nationally with it. And so the first year I was like, you know, it's all right, making good money, being gone. And this past year, just when he hit 2, he started walking, and it was so much fun that now I haven't gone out this summer. I'll probably go out in August, but I've really enjoyed being with him, taking, you know, swimming or
Oh,
up the
that's
mountains.
cool.
Yeah,
Dude, I can only imagine.
Aw.
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. So it's changed me for the better for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Do you think like your perspective has changed a lot by just having a kid? And because you said that you actually have another one as well too, right? Or
Nope,
you just have one?
Just one for now.
Okay.
We're trying for our second.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's changed my outlook on, like, I was always a big risk taker growing up. You know, racing dirt bikes, I love the adrenaline. And having him definitely slowed me down.
Really?
Yeah, unnecessary risk that I would just get an adrenaline dump from whatever stupid thing I was doing. You know, like,
Now it's kind of just like,
Probably
yeah, you know,
not.
it's like, you know, him and my wife are relying on us as a family. So I definitely tame it back. I still do stuff, but not not to the extent.
You seem pretty mellow.
Yeah.
You definitely give me very mellow vibes.
I think in the gym I'm humbled a lot, so it keeps me mellow there, you know?
Fair.
Yeah, I don't know. When I was a kid, man, I would pretty much do anything just to get people to laugh, to, you know, for the adrenaline dump. It didn't matter. It was, you know, the crew I hung around with, they were all the same. So whether it was catching venomous snakes as kids or
Oh my
Dude.
gosh, what?
yeah, here's a funny story about a snake. First time we were down in Oklahoma is for a race. Coming from Colorado, the only venomous snake I knew about was a rattlesnake, right? So they have rattles, pretty defined what they are. So I'm just walking around the pits, and I see these kids throwing all these rocks at this broken, abandoned car in the river bottom. I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like, oh, we're throwing rocks. Okay. So I start throwing rocks too. Like, why are we throwing rocks? And they're like, there's a snake down there. I was like, sweet. Is it a rattlesnake? And they're like, no. Cool. So I hop down in there, and, you know, I'm rummaging through this car, and I catch this snake. And I come out, and everybody's just wide-eyed. I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. Like, maybe they're scared of snakes. So I'm walking back to the pits to go show my dad this new snake I caught, and I'm holding it by the head. Side note, my nickname as a kid was Crocodile Dilley instead of Dundee.
Crocodile Dilley?
Yeah.
I like that.
So walking back to the pits, and some dad comes up, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I'm going to show my dad the snake I caught. And he's like, you know what that is? And I was like, no, a black one? He's like, no, that's a water moccasin.
Oh, no,
And
dude.
I'm like, okay.
You're like, cool?
Yeah,
Cool
what's
story,
that?
bro.
He's like, that's like a rattlesnake. And I was like,
Dang.
shit.
What?
And threw it down, you know, and we're in pits. So like thousands of people camped there in trailers and kids running, like, and it just took off under cars and trucks. And
Oh my
I was
god.
like, oh my God, this is, yeah. So
You're like, and that was the last day that I raced.
yeah, went back to the camper, told my dad, got my ass chewed. But knowing that I was able to catch one, that was kind of like my thing. Is if there were snakes at the track, people would come find me as a kid.
Oh, my God.
To wrangle them up.
That's pretty wild.
So just I don't know. I've always craved that adrenaline,
Mm-hmm.
and then fire has definitely, you know, cured that side of it for me. So I don't have to find it outside of work too often.
Yeah, that's pretty
sure.
wild. I mean, like, just being a firefighter at all, period, that's like so much respect because
It's not as bad as, at least in our area, right? Some places run crazy fires all the time, nonstop. We're a smaller department. We're a slower department. So we don't get to see as much fire as, I would say, most big departments, or as probably any big department.
okay.
But I think the thing that I like about us is that we have 3 specialty teams. So we have the wildland team. We have a dive rescue team in Swiftwater. So water rescue and a technical rescue. So
All right.
ropes, confined space, structural collapse. Some small stuff like that.
What is your specialty?
I'm on all 3 teams. Coming from the tree side, I had a really good understanding of ropes and knots in rigging situations. So I was able to get onto that team, and then dive. I've always liked water and swimming and challenging myself. It can humble me, just like in the match, right? Like you got somebody smothering your face and you're underwater, like same feeling. And you just
Was I
kinda,
smothering your face the other day?
Yeah, probably a couple times.
And those for you listening or watching, they actually know each other
I think it
from
was, actually. Mikey?
Yeah, on purpose.
yeah.
You
That's
did hold it there. I
That
just
was you,
chuckled.
for
I was
sure.
like, no,
Yeah.
this isn't
Oh
gonna
my
work.
gosh.
But I think I got submitted pretty shortly after.
I don't recall, if I'm being honest.
So yeah, on all 3 teams, and it's good for me to focus on different things because it keeps me, you know, if I only focus on one thing, I can get sidetracked and kind of bored with one. So having 3 different avenues to dance between really helps me stay focused.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that there was that many like different things involved with it for some
Right.
reason. But I honestly, I've never really looked into it.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
nobody really talks about those things. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. It doesn't really. I didn't even know there was that structured like that.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
We're fortunate for being a small department. We're really fortunate to have the 3 teams. Anytime we get those calls, we're always calling for backup for neighboring departments, whether it's Evans or LaSalle or Greeley, because it's always so personnel dependent and heavy. You know, you might have only a couple rescuers in the water or up on ropes, but you just need a ton of people on the backside to help with everything else being set up. So.
So then for anybody that just kind of maybe wants to start or even like want to become like a firefighter, that's kind of like the way to start is just to volunteer? Or how do you even go about that?
I think back when I started, it was definitely more popular. But the bigger departments now, they'll take with, heavy testing. There's some physical tests you have to take, some aptitude tests, and then they can place you. And if you have your certs, that helps you because they don't have to, focus on all the small things. But yeah, I've had plenty of friends that just got picked up off the streets after applying a few times, and they're smart dudes, they're fit dudes. So yeah, I think volunteering is a good way. One, to get your feet wet to see if that's what you want to do. We've had people come in and they just leave because it's not for them. But we've had people come in with no experience that crush it and are some of the best guys we have.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I think if you're looking to get into it, it's kind of dependent where you're at. If you want to wait for a hiring, if you're, some people don't like big departments. When I first got hired, I wanted to stick at a small department and kind of, small family feel. I think our downfall is that we don't run enough calls. That's pretty much everybody's biggest complaint usually is, the lack of fires or the lack of jobs we want to do.
But I mean, at the same time, I guess it's kind of good.
Yeah,
I mean, because
it's definitely good, right? Like,
Right, less risk, right? That's what I was
but
thinking.
also, like that just means that we're not like so much in danger where we just need help all the time, I guess. I don't know.
We just train, all departments train so much for fires, like everybody wants to run fires.
Yeah.
Even still
Yeah,
in
that
like a
sounds
small
bad.
like area, right? Like I don't think Kersey's like a crazy big area. There's not like if I think about it, everything's pretty separated, like except for like that little small area where the town is.
Yeah, it's a small town, but we cover 220 square miles or something.
Holy shit.
Yeah, basically from like just west of 49 and 34 out to the Morgan County line, and then down to County Road 32, 34 on 49. So it's a lot of area.
That's a lot of space, yeah.
But it's all mainly condensed, right into the town of Kersey itself.
For sure. Dang, that's a big area.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
but it's fun.
Have you experienced anything crazy?
Yeah, I guess for me, I would consider some stuff crazy. Some of the crazy calls are just kind of the ones you just didn't see coming. I think what blows my mind the most is to see the car accidents and how like that can be torn apart and people walk out, right? Like the ass end of a car is completely torn off and the guy's thrown the car, but he's up and walking around, and you're like, you didn't have a seatbelt on, or if he did, sometimes they're cut off because like the side of a car has been cut off before. Oh. And they're thrown from their vehicle, but they're up and walking around, or super simple car accidents that people just were unlucky and,
But let's I was just thinking about like 4th of July. Is that like the worst fucking holiday for you?
Right.
No,
Do you usually have to like, how does that work?
We'll run some grass fires and stuff, It's really just dependent. Usually around 4th of July is when we get most of our water calls. We typically go out to Jackson. We have the South Platte that runs through our district. And then Jackson, somebody told us a couple years ago that Jackson's the busiest state park in Colorado, which blew my mind. So every time 4th of July is approaching and his passed, like I'm always on edge of, if I'm going to Estes with the family, I might drive separate to,
Oh, geez.
make you just never know.
Spontaneous trip to freaking Jackson Lake. Oh
yeah.
my God.
So it's not required by any means, but I always feel I don't drink, right? So if I'm not drinking, there's no reason I can't be there unless I'm too far, too gone. So, it's kind of 4th of July can be pretty busy, but a lot of the people I think leave the town and go elsewhere, whether it's camping or Greeley for fireworks or stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's just, that's the first thing I always think of. It's just you always see the firemen driving around on 4th of July. And you're just like, oh, do I light it?
Greeley has it way worse than us. Any big city, they're going to be running all over the place with people. So
It almost seems kind of pointless, dude, because it's like so many people light up fireworks on the 4th of July, even though there's always the fine signs and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's not going to hold anybody back.
No, absolutely not.
Everybody's like, America.
exactly. People don't ask for permission.
Right.
Yeah.
So you definitely see this for the long haul, man. Like, how long, like, do you see yourself doing this for?
I couldn't even tell you an age. You know, sometimes I see guys that retire at or get out at, 40 or 50.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've seen guys at big departments like FD&Y and stuff like that are in their 60s and still going. I'm not a guy just to sit at home and not do anything. So I see, unless I have some sort of bodily injury or something, I plan to be in it for the long haul. I don't see a reason to get out.
That's
I
awesome.
like it too much.
Yeah. That's
Oh, yeah.
good, though. That's great to hear that somebody actually really, really loves enjoying kind of like what they do for a living.
It's definitely how it should be, for sure.
I think I'm surrounded by a lot of those people too.
Yeah.
We have a really good family dynamic, right? Always going to be bickering and stuff like that, but everybody's always watching out for each other. And so that just keeps it healthy. That keeps it fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy coming to work. Very few times have I got up and man. And it's usually not from personnel issues. It's for personal issues or whatever it be. So yeah, I'm in it for the long haul, I think.
That's amazing.
So,
So do you ever go to or I guess just as a whole, do you guys ever go to a school or anything like that? I mean, I know me growing up, I would always see firemen coming down, visiting, showing off their trucks and stuff like that. Do you guys do that?
Last year we didn't, just for COVID reasons. At least I don't remember anybody going out. But yeah, a couple times a year we'll go down to the elementary school usually and do a show and tell of, what we wear, why we wear it. And then if they're real young, we just want to introduce ourselves in gear so they're not scared of us if something happens,
Okay.
Kids have been known to hide from us in closets or toy boxes or whatever it be. So
oh, geez.
yeah, we try to teach them, don't be scared. Come,
Yeah.
Even if you see us on the street or whatever, be stop us, come say hi, check out the fire trucks. We just want to be open and inviting to everybody we can.
Yeah, I
So-
definitely, I mean, I feel like for me, I always try to say hi to firemen. When they're driving past, but I'm like, oh,
Sure, I
You
love seeing people wave at me. I think it's great just to keep that open line of communication between you and your city or your citizens, just so they feel at home, so you feel at home. Nothing worse than going to a house and people don't want you there, and it's like you're walking on eggshells versus
right.
when they're overly welcome and they're like, hey, come on in, whatever's going on and how can I help you, or I don't, just that open invitation is really nice. So we want that to go both ways.
I like that.
Absolutely. That's a great message. And honestly, I never really thought about it like that, but thinking about the kids hiding in closets and stuff, I guess that makes
know.
complete sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just remember even as a kid, or supposedly this is what I was told, I guess as a kid, I would run to the window and start screaming at the truck when it would go by. But I guess I didn't say fire truck. I would say something similar to truck, but not, truck. I would just
funny.
yell that all the time.
Sure. Yeah. That's what my son does right now.
Really? Yeah, see, there we go.
Yep. He's all about fire trucks, trash trucks, pretty much any big truck, but he struggles with the word truck as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
how does
great,
that even make you feel as a dad though? Knowing that your kid is into something that you are doing.
I love it. Obviously, right? It brings a smile to my face.
Yeah.
If I'm at work and I FaceTime him or something, he's always in the background, fire truck.
Oh,
Fire
that's
truck.
so cute.
I'll be in my room. He's like, where's the fire truck? Oh, it's downstairs, buddy, But I live close enough that on my days off, I might go out there and, take him for a little tour and turn the lights on. And he
That's
just he
awesome.
loves it. Yeah. So I don't know. It's great.
That is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, we don't have kids, but we are
Yeah.
our two girls, our two little dogs. Dude, they go so wild. I know.
Yeah, our two baby girls.
Our two little baby girls, dude. Literally,
Are
anytime there's a
Boxer
fire
and
truck,
Doberman.
anytime there's a fire truck, I have to let them out because they just start going crazy, and then they go outside and they start howling for forever. It's amazing. They love it.
I know,
So,
it's a trip though. I wonder why dogs do that. Why they howl.
I don't know if it's the noise or something.
Yeah, it gets that high pitch.
I'm sure it's just everything, just super stimulated. The lights, the noise, it's all loud.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's everything.
That's pretty funny.
No, that's amazing. How'd you get into jiu-jitsu?
So back just after high school, when I was in that like lost phase, my buddy started going. He was like, "Hey man," and he was a wrestler. I wasn't. You know, I was made fun of the kids that wrestled because I was immature and
The singlet thing?
yeah, singlet.
I was there, bro. That was me.
So he was a pretty good wrestler, and if we'd go, he'd almost always beat me. I might get lucky every once in a while with like a guillotine, you know, some real lucky shot. And he started going, and pretty quick, I was like, shit, like this, he's got knowledge somewhere, right? So I didn't know that we had to wear gis. So he's like, yeah, come to my gym sometime and check it out. So I went in there, and they put on these gis, and I was like, dude, I can't. Like, you went from a singlet to now a robe. You know, you're wearing a bathrobe.
A robe? What
Yeah,
are you,
like,
Hugh Hefner?
no
That's
way,
hilarious.
man. So tried it out. Just couldn't get, you know, I came up with the excuses of money, of time, all that stuff. I was working in Boulder, living between Arvada and Greeley with my girlfriend, and he wanted me to go down in Arvada. And I was like, can't make the time work, too expensive. And finally, I moved up here, and I don't remember what it was exactly, but I just Googled jiu-jitsu, and it was 3 minutes from my house. And I was like,
Oh, geez.
yeah. So I went in and talked to Danny, let me do that week trial, you know. And I was like, I don't have an excuse. Like, I already like it so much. Like, I'll swallow my ego for these robes right now, you know, and just fell in love with it. So I think my only complaint now is trying to find the time with my kiddos. I don't make the night classes. I only do the 6 a.m.s. But if I'm working during the week, I can't make that third day when I get off unless it's a 9 a.m. class. I got some part-time jobs that I do, so I might be lucky to make it once or twice a week. So, yeah, but my brother's super into it. I have mats in my basement, so if he comes over,
really?
Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go. Committed.
I'm always scrounging Facebook for stuff, you know, whether it's one of those dummies or...
Hell yeah.
So I got some mats.
I feel like Anthony's like that too.
Yeah, that's me for sure. That's
got
just
mats?
the jiu-jitsu spirit. I do have mats, bro.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a curse, man.
It is. I've been tried to take my wife down there a few times. Like, hey, you know, like I just learned this move. Let me. No.
I can't
Just-
even touch her, dude. My feet. She
It
gets
just
so mad at
pisses
my.
me off. Like, as soon as he just
Look how
starts
mad-
touching
see how
me
mad
in
that's-
some way, I'm like, "Ugh, stop. Like, please, I'm not in the mood for this right now.
And you are into that foot stuff. Like you just like slowly sweep them in, you know, and my feet
Yeah.
are already. I'm like, damn. I'm too far gone now.
Not
That's
into that
hilarious. Yeah,
foot
she
stuff.
hates it. She hates when I, you know, even try and mess with her.
Cuddling. Can you cuddle anymore, bro?
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
she'll hit me. You know what I mean?
You're like,
I know
yeah,
that
but
fine
it takes
line.
a lot of discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
A risk
fighting
control.
the urge.
Yeah, for sure.
But I plan to get my son in on it as soon as possible.
Yeah, heck yeah.
He's just over 2, so I think probably like 3 or 4,
Yeah.
which seems like forever from now. So, yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, that's where I met you, man. And it's definitely jiu-jitsu for some reason has been like a crazy community for me. And I love it, man. It just makes me very curious at like how other people get into it because it's kind of a weird. I still feel weird like taking the freaking gi, like packing a gi into my backpack. I'm like, this is what I'm doing at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Packing my gi
Yeah.
into
Could
my
be
backpack.
sleeping right now. Could be doing something. But
Sleep is nice.
I really enjoy just hearing everybody's life story from the gym, you know?
Yeah.
Like-
Everybody's so different. It's a weird melting pot.
Yeah. In fire, people kind of have the same background, or at least we do when we're there, you know? But
Right.
you go there and you just get all walks of life, you know?
Yeah.
It is just crazy to hear. That's why I really like listening to this. And you guys get people on there, and I'm like, oh, what's his backstory? Oh, I had no idea that he
Yeah.
did this, or that's what he does for work, you know?
Yeah.
So I get so tunnel visioned on what we're learning and what we're drilling that I always forget to ask about personal lives and try and learn from people. Like Danny's got a crazy story, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
you
I still get
definitely
crazy stories out of him all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I still haven't found that fight video he talked about.
No,
I'm
nobody's
still
hooked it
searching.
up with
I
a
know.
link. Yeah, nobody's
I have no
giving us
idea
any
where to even
details.
start.
I'm like, we still need to find that.
You know, I bet who has it? I bet Praise has it. I bet we can talk Praise into giving us the details on that.
You want to talk about crazy stories? That
Praise is
guy.
the man for
Yeah.
sure.
My buddy texted me one night. He was like, hey, what gym do you go to? I was like, the farm. He's like, oh, have you heard of Praise? And I was like, I laughed. And I called him. I was like, yeah, where you at? Like, are you trying to fight him? Like, don't stay. You know, he's like, no, I'm just at the bar and grabbing drinks. And he's sitting next to me. So we started talking. I was like, you got to ask him about this story and this story. Like,
Just ask him about anything. Yeah.
He's like, dude, this guy's crazy. He's hilarious. He's super humble. I would have never guessed. And I was like,
And crazy dangerous.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him walking into Red Robin with my wife, and I was like, you see him? And she's like, yeah. Like, he would murder me right now with his pinky. Like, just
With
wipe
his
me. And she's like,
pinky.
really? And I was like, yeah. No chance. But, yeah. I don't know. Jiu-jitsu, man, it's crazy how it brings people together, who it brings together, you know, all walks of life. And humbling.
Very humbling for sure. So, no, it's pretty cool, man. I love it. So,
What about you? How'd you get into it?
how did I get into it?
Yeah.
I feel like I've always kind of really liked it. Same thing with the wrestling. Just couldn't do the singlet kind of thing. And I didn't really have any close buddies that were wrestlers, so it just never was that big of a nerd. You know, I wasn't going to like go outside my friend circle and be like, yep, that's me. That's my thing. So, and we didn't even have a wrestling team at my school. So
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Frontier Academy.
Oh, okay.
Super small school.
Gotcha.
My graduating class was like 60-something people.
Okay.
So, yeah, we didn't even have a wrestling team. So I would have had to go to like a rival school basically to wrestle there. So it was just I never did it. I wish I would have for sure. But then I even remember times like, I remember when John Jones was starting, and I picked up a magazine from a store called Hastings. It was like a bookstore kind of over by where Gold's Gym is now.
Okay.
And I remember I picked up this UFC magazine. It had John Jones on the front. It was like, oh, the next big guy, this next kid's going to be the big deal or whatever. But in the middle of the magazines, it would always go over like submissions, like submission of the week or this magazine submission or whatever, right? And it'd be like, I don't know, Tito Ortiz or somebody in there like teaching the move or something, you know.
On paper?
Some crazy, yeah. And it would just have like details and stuff. And me and one of my homies would just go down to a park kind of by our house.
Yes.
And just freaking like roll in the grass.
Nice.
We didn't know it was rolling. Obviously, we would wrestle in the grass.
Sure.
It was super strange.
That's
and,
awesome.
yeah, but that kind of, obviously, as we got older, obviously that shit ended. And
Yep.
I just never really got into it, man. I mean, I did karate when I was like really, really young, like 5 maybe. But I mean, that's completely different.
Yeah.
Didn't really feel that. And then when I got old enough, actually, when I started at this job that I'm at now, I kind of just came up in training class, and another guy there who was like, dude, come to the farm. And I was like, the farm? I've heard about that place. And he was like, yeah, just come in, dude. And I was like, same thing. I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of expensive. Like, I'm not in shape, you know. Like,
I think it's funny how we're so quick to come up with excuses.
Yeah, man. It's easy.
It is.
Because it's easy.
So easy.
And then one day, he just showed up to work with a gi. And he was like, bro, here's a gi. You wanted to go. This was one of your excuses. Now you have one. Show up.
Nice.
I was like, fuck, bro.
I'm going to steal that.
That's slick, right?
I have one guy that I work with right now. He's especially
On
after
edge?
praise. Yeah. Oh,
On
yeah.
edge, bro.
And he was a great wrestler in high school. Mm-hmm. And I don't, again, same thing, right? He works like 3 or 4 days on when he's off work. So I don't have the time. I was like, make time. Your work, your part-time job will be fine if you come in 15 minutes late, you know, 6 to 7, you work at 7, you'll be fine. So I'm going to steal that for sure. But
hell yeah.
He's been talking about it. Yeah. Yeah.
One of my homies, same thing, for like 2 years. Trying to get him to come in. Eric.
Oh, Eric, okay.
For so long, dude. I was trying to get him to come in. And for some reason, I caught him with like, I was just like, dude, well, there's a 6 a.m. class. And he was just like, there's a 6 a.m. class?
That hooked him?
I'm like, fuck. Yeah, man. There's a 6 a.m. class, supposedly. I've never been. But technically, we can go before work. He's like, oh, dude, I think that'll actually work. So fucking wrote me into that shit. Been doing that ever since. But it's helped me stay really consistent, so it's kind of hard to hate on it. But
yeah, the 9 a.m.s were nice for when I was lazy, you know. But that 6 a.m., man, if I go in the morning, it just starts my day off right. I feel good. I'm woke up. I'm stretched.
For me, the first like 10 minutes is just real shitty. But like once you're up, like it feels pretty nice.
Yeah, by the time I get to the gym, I'm like, all right, it's too late.
Same. I'm here. I drove all the way over here.
Yeah. For a while, when I started the 6 a.m. classes, I'd get there at like 5:50, 5:55 on Wednesday.
Oh, no.
And I'd be like, dude, what the hell's going on? Nobody's here.
Oh, no,
6:15,
no
I'm
class.
like, roll, yeah. And finally I was like, oh, God.
You're like, fuck, there's no classes on Wednesdays.
Oh,
Yeah, like,
what?
what? Yeah, what do I do now? So, you know, go for a run when I get home or crawl back in bed. Like, oh, man, I was so excited.
fuck.
Yeah, I was pumped.
Danny asked me if I wanted to do a class on Wednesdays. So
What excuse you come up with?
All right, let's get out of here. No,
That's our cue.
man. Honestly, my excuse is that it's just hard to commit, man. Because I want to be there when other people are there. Like the other days of the week, it's cool going when I don't have to teach. That also makes me not feel stressed out.
Yeah, it's probably a different feeling when you're teaching. And I want competition in my life again because I really miss that part of racing.
Yeah.
So
I dig that. It feels good. It feels horrible, but it feels good.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw.
For sure.
Slap hands. So far, everybody was real friendly. Even asking for pointers from people I've never met before, or competing against, and everybody was down to earth. That's what I love about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Off the mats, so far everybody's been super cool to me.
Everybody gets humbled, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you just can't be a douchebag if you're in jiu-jitsu.
I would agree.
It's
Yeah.
impossible. I haven't met anybody.
Yeah, man. It's pretty mind blowing.
For sure.
You can try and quote unquote break people's arms, and then be friends right after it. Like,
Yeah. And be like, all right, man.
Yeah.
Have a good day at work.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right. I call it choke throat because like you wake up the next morning, you think you're sick, and you're just like,
tender.
no, I'm not sick. I just got choked a little too hard yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
Yeah.
That happened last week
Yeah.
for like 3 or 4 days. Like every time I'd swallow, like
Yeah.
making that
It
face,
hurts
that
a little bit.
cringe
You're like,
face, like oh man, yeah. It was
yeah,
good.
choke throat for sure. Yeah, no, I love it, man. I'll probably do that shit forever. But
Yeah, unless I move somewhere where the gym's not nearby, but then I'll be doing stuff online or
Right.
hopefully have a kid old
Or on
enough
your
to
kid.
train. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I can't wait for that. My dad tried to push me in, wrestling when I was a kid too, and I was like, no, and I just regret every bit of it because what a great thing to have.
I know. I wish I would have.
Control yourself, control your anger, control other people.
Mm-hmm. Just learning how to move your body.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's important enough.
Flexibility,
Yeah.
healthy.
And I think it's funny too, because like when he joined jiu-jitsu, I told my dad about it because he actually was a wrestler, but the Mexican type, a luchador.
The mask.
Yes.
So he was like so happy to hear that Anthony like joined something like kind of like in that field in a way, like where it's
Nice.
like fighting, I guess.
You guys even took me to a match.
Yeah, we did.
I think your dad reffed it too, actually.
I believe so, yeah. And I don't know, I thought it was just so funny and cute though too, because like literally as soon as he found out that he was like into that type of stuff, he literally the next day he pulled up in a trailer and like brought what is that called? Like what forklifts get? It was,
Oh,
like,
pallets.
Pallets.
Yeah, pallets.
But in his mind, he's like wrestling like WWE type of style.
way.
I'm like,
He's
no,
gonna straight up
Dad,
build a
like
ring.
this is not like that. It's completely different. Like you actually break people's arms and stuff like that.
Because
So it was just funny.
that was all rehearsed as well, right?
Oh yeah, the
Mexican- okay.
luchador. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, lucha libre is all like it's like WWE, but it's just with the mask and everything like
It seemed
that.
pretty intense though, dude. Because when I was there, people were bleeding.
I wouldn't step foot in a ring with.
I swear they were ripping each other's hair out.
Well, back in the day,
Dude, I swear.
yes, like back in the day, he was actually like a professional luchador, like in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, like he has like #1 trophies and stuff like that. And he's now like obviously like way retired from that. But I forgot what my point was.
Pretty legit.
But no, he would like show us like pictures and videos of like him like wrestling back in the day. It's crazy. There is actually
Dang.
like blood and like I think it was more legit back then.
Those guys are so athletic, like
Mm-hmm.
at least from the WWE stuff that I don't really watch it, but just watching them flip or the bloopers and stuff, like
And they do
those
that
guys
shit like 200 days out of the year. So
Yeah.
you're like, how the fuck? How?
take some hits.
Dude, I can't do jits more than 3 days a week.
Yeah,
And
no
my
kidding.
body just like destroyed.
Yeah, I tweaked my back this morning. I was
Nice.
getting stacked and I fought through it. I felt like a twinge and I fought through it, and then I went to get off the mat and I was like, oh no.
I tried explaining that to a chiropractor. So there was one day I was just like super tweaked, bro. Like my back and my neck. It's like one of those where you
Yep.
can't like turn your neck. So I was like, you know what? I just need to fix this. I went to the chiropractor and he was like, so what's going on? Like what happened to you? And I was like, yeah, I was like rolling jujitsu. You're
Wrestling.
grappling, and they stacked me. And he was just like, what do you mean by stacked? And I was just like, basically like this, and I had like laid on the table. I was like, basically it's like when they like put your hips over your shoulders with their weight.
Yeah.
And Yeah.
I'm trying to envision that right now.
Yeah, I definitely full on explained it to the chiropractor,
It
and I didn't feel any better. If I'm being quite frank, but
I just got back from the chiropractor
yeah,
like 2 hours ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did that and acupuncture.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You should do that.
how's that? I wanted to try that.
Yeah.
I haven't felt much yet. He said it's not like an immediate thing, right? So he said by the time you go back to work on Sunday, you should be fine. But I'll be there tomorrow morning to see how it goes.
Fair enough.
So we'll see. I need to figure something out because
That's so trippy. Where'd you go for that?
it's a small little clinic behind the Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, okay. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. That little complex there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been there a few times and I've enjoyed it. It's like a little small hole in the wall place. But my mother-in-law goes there.
Acupuncture. Definitely always been very interested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the first time I went was for lower back problems from lifting. I doing a workout or something, and
It's very like sectional. They don't do like a large portion. It's just like, oh, like where do you hurt? Like on my shoulder blade. So they just do your shoulder blade.
so far that's what they've done. Where's your pain, and they do it in that area. Like
Where's your pain? My whole body. My
My
whole
neck, my
everything
throat.
that I can't see back here.
yeah, he felt down the spine. He's like, oh yeah, this and this are out of place. This rib's out of place.
What?
He put them back together, and he did all the needles, and I was like, and he hooks them up to like little electrodes
What?
to like stimulate the muscle.
That sounds wild.
Yeah.
It's you can barely feel it, right? So he starts it off at 0 and then slowly cranks until you feel a little twinge. I was like, but I only feel it on the left side of my back. He's like, well, yeah, that's the muscle that's inflamed. I'm not
wow.
gonna do the right side if it's. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, all right, thanks.
Huh.
So we'll see how it goes.
That's kind of trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric's all fucked up right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he hasn't trained all week.
What do you do?
Something's wrong with he tweaked his neck, but his arm is fucked up.
Wow.
Oh,
Like he's having pain in his arm.
huh?
So
Has he gotten checked out yet?
yeah, he's gone to the chiropractor. He's trying to set up with a different doctor to see if he can get checked out, but he's starting to feel better finally, but it's already been like a week.
Oof.
So, and yeah, he's trying to get ready for Naga. So he's like, dude, I don't know what the hell. And he's kind of on the verge where he's like, dude, this isn't really worth it, man. He's like, I got a fucking job. I got bills. I got kids. Like, my kids have stuff to do. He's like, I don't know if this gets better and I go back and it gets worse. He's like, I'm probably done.
Dang.
Fuck, man.
Dang. He's a fun role.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest fear.
This is our size.
Your size.
All right.
Get it right.
I know.
My bad.
Yeah. That's my biggest fear is injury, right? Like
Same.
I can't go to work
Yeah.
messed up. So I was disappointed this morning when I felt it. I just hate to lose like everybody, I should have just been like, okay, a tap,
Just banding, yeah.
but I didn't. So
You
hopefully
gotta
I'll
learn somehow, bro.
Exactly.
Do you ride now? You don't have a bike?
No. My last year racing, I down in Oklahoma. So it's funny, that story with the snake. That was like my first national.
Yeah.
And then my last national was at the same race, same track.
Wow.
I crashed, tore my shoulder out. I guess a month before that, I was training, crashed, was in the hospital for 3 days for a concussion.
Uh-huh.
And then tore my shoulder out, internal bleeding and perforated bowels.
Oh, geez.
Healed from that. I was like, all right, I'm done racing, but I'm still going to ride. First day back on the track after healing up from those surgeries, I blew my ankle out. And then I had a bike for like 2 years after that and didn't touch it. I think I raced once with my brother because we were always so far apart that I couldn't race
Yeah.
with him. So he finally got old enough that we went to Texas and did one race. And
That's cool.
Yeah.
yeah. So always a dream of mine to race with him. And then sold the bike after that. Had to focus on the career.
Yeah.
Why don't you get a Harley, bro?
I had a crotch rocket for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little CBR. That was fun. But that adrenaline, that I was always seeking.
Too dangerous.
Yeah, just stupid stuff, young and dumb. Yeah, I'd love to have another crotch rocket, but I don't know. And the Harleys, I think, are
I
just...
see it in that smile, bro.
I've ridden some Harleys, some friends and stuff, and I think they're just too big and too slow for me,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I liked my favorite time to ride the CBR was when there was just a little bit of traffic on the highway, so you could just blow through
that's funny.
all lanes of traffic and just keep cruising. But I had just way too many close encounters. I think if I hadn't raced, I would have gotten hit or something. But I always had a decent,
sense of awareness.
Exactly.
Damn.
So, jiu-jitsu is kind of my only passion right now. I'm trying to get into hunting.
There we go.
Yeah.
Same here, man. I bought a bow last year.
Oh, nice.
So I've been really lazy about shooting it. But yeah, I've got a little bow and like some hay bales in my backyard and
Nice.
the whole setup. So that's definitely ideally what I would like to get into too, just to kind of spread out my feelers.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I grew up pheasant hunting.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
Since I was 8 or something. We do that every year, but I want to get into big game, elk.
Yeah, same,
So,
dude.
What a learning process.
Especially being here in Colorado.
Yeah.
I know, man.
You've got some of the best hunting in the world, and at my fingertips. So
Yeah.
that's I'm doing rifle this year, and then I plan to get into archery next year.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I definitely want to know more about that. We'll have to talk about more about that in class. That's pretty slick. My dad my mom bought him like an outfitter's like package thing. So we're going to go pheasant hunting. And
nice.
pheasant hunting or turkey hunting, I don't remember which one it was. But I think we're going to South Dakota.
Oh, I don't know about turkey. All my friends have been like, the sky gets covered in pheasants. Like you can't see.
So I keep hearing.
Yeah. I've never been to South
heard
Dakota.
that. But everybody keeps saying the pheasant thing in South Dakota is like
Incredible.
The spot.
Yep.
Damn, what the hell?
Yep. We go to Kansas, western Kansas, eastern Colorado, but I've never really gotten anything in Colorado.
Yeah.
But we do pretty well in Kansas usually,
Hell yeah, dude.
depending on weather.
Well, that definitely makes me feel better about it for sure.
That's going to be awesome, South Dakota.
Yeah, hell
Always
yeah.
wanted to. But I'll
Hell
take
yeah.
you out this year.
Hell yeah, dude. I'll take you up on that.
Deal.
Let's fucking do it.
Deal. What are you getting into archery for? Big game?
Big game for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the
Nice.
only one in the family with a bow, though, so I think everybody
Okay.
would just kind of be there. So it feels a lot of pressure.
Sure.
So.
That's fair.
But it'd be
Gonna
fun,
do
dude. I think that'd be sick.
Deer, elk?
I think probably deer. Elk just seems probably way too hard for how little of experience I have or think that I have.
That's
I don't
what I feel
have
like.
any, so. Yeah, I
Nice.
feel like deer is probably the only way that it would probably be possible. Rifle's probably a different game, but yeah, bow for sure.
And I'm starting from scratch. I think I'm in the same boat with you, just in a rifle, right? Like I have a rifle my dad used to use, but I'm gonna change that platform completely. Like trying to figure out what gear I need. Like I went and scoped out a place a couple weeks ago up north of Walden,
Oh, geez.
and I was like, just hiking back there. I had like a small backpack with some water,
And you're like,
and I was already gassed. I was like, if I get something down back here, this is gonna be rough. Yeah, but I think that's the enjoyment of it, right? Is
Yeah, hell
fighting
yeah.
through that rough stuff. So that's my plan.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yep.
Well, good luck, man.
Thank you.
Definitely keep me in mind. That's very cool. I'm going to take you up on that.
Deal.
So, and before we get out of here, hey, what shoulder's the one that's messed up?
Mm-hmm.
That one? Okay.
That
okay.
one.
Cool.
You twist both of them though, so it's fine.
Okay,
Oh
fair
my
enough. I just
gosh.
wanted to see if I can get it out of you.
No,
No.
not today.
I think that's it. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I think that was pretty good.
I think we covered the bases. Fair enough. Cool beans.
Awesome. Thank
Let's
you
get
guys.
the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for the time, man. I
Yeah, thank you
appreciate
again.
it.
No
Definitely
problem.
still makes me very curious. I kind of want to be a freaking fireman, man.
I know.
But let's not get into that.
All right. It's easy. Anybody can do it.
And that's what I love though. Like that you make it seem like it's like it is really easy to get in.
I mean, I got in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, but going based off of like volunteering and stuff like that. I mean, that's like what really? You don't need to take any courses or like experience that you need to have before going in. You know?
Maybe I misspoke earlier on. If you do volunteer, most, especially nowadays, like once you're on the department, then they'll push you through those mandatory trainings and classes, whether it's EMT and fire or some of the small volunteer departments. They'll have like not EMT stuff, but still healthcare. I can't remember the
Okay.
names of them right off the top of my head. But maybe not fully certified in all realms. But some places are really small and they just need any help that they can get from the locals that live near the station or nearby or have good knowledge of the area. Sometimes that's our biggest benefit is having a local like, hey, where's this part of the river? What's the deepest? What's the shallowest? What's the best access to get down to this fire?
Wow.
You know, what's in the mountains, we ask homeowners a lot, like this time of the day, every year, what happens? You know, is it, you know, winds, thunderstorms, you know, especially in Colorado, we have a decent idea. But you get to the different states and western slope, you know, and things are just totally different. Fuels are totally different and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Did you guys have to do anything about the fire that happened last year? And I think there's still a fire going on this year, right?
there's quite a few. Yeah. I spent two weeks in Grand Junction last year.
Oh, okay. For
and
that big fire, right? That was happening?
in Junction. Yep.
That was crazy.
Yeah. We were actually headed to California.
Oh, really?
And then so you can't travel between like 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. during the day, or I'm sorry, after that at night for safety reasons. So Colorado had a massive, sorry, brain fart, a massive order basically for California. They just needed as much help as possible in Southern Cal.
Dang.
So we were headed up that way with a bunch of different departments, and we stopped in Junction to sleep. And then they called us that night and they canceled us. California just canceled everybody. And
Oh,
like,
wow.
What the fuck?
Yeah. You know, kind of irritated because you plan your next 2 weeks, like cancel everything and change it all right. And so now we're trying to figure it out. And now we're already out on the road and our schedules are open. So we're trying to figure out what to do. And just to the north of town, you could see this big plume of smoke. I'm like, okay. So we call chiefs. I'm like, hey, you know, this fire's kicking up. They're going to be calling for resources in the next 24 hours. We guarantee it. All right, we'll call dispatch and see if there's anything. And you're not supposed to, and they're not supposed to like pull people from where they are. But we're like, we're 10 minutes. You know, this only makes sense. And you have all these engines. Call dispatch and like, we're not telling you to drag your feet, but if you don't rush home tonight, that's fine. Next morning, still hadn't heard anything, so we get back home. And then like 16 hours later, they call us back to Grand Junction for the fire.
Jeez.
And we're like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just lost an entire day on everybody's schedule, you know. So
Yep.
went back up there, did 14 days. We're home for, I don't remember how long. Sent a truck to California. I wasn't on that one. They were out there for 14.
And they just drive all the way out there?
Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
in different trucks you can make, you know, some are governed at slower speeds. So it was like a 3-day travel to California.
Oh my god.
So it's 14 days on the fire. Yeah, 14 days on the fire.
Let's go.
And then it's 3 days of travel, 3 days back. So, you know, you're gone for 20 days sometimes, if not
Dang.
longer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And your typical roles are going to be, typical deployments are going to be 14, but they can extend you up to 21 if you agree. And then you still would have 6 days travel
Right.
back and forth. So, yeah, it can be taxing, you know, being away from the family, but I love traveling. I love seeing different parts of the country, remote, you know, meeting people from, you know, different areas. So yeah, they went to California, came back, and then Colorado with the Cameron Peak. It started as like a normal 14-day deployment for everybody, but everybody was so taxed and spread thin throughout all the fires along the Front Range that they couldn't get people to commit to 14 days. So then they started doing these 3-day deployments, which was awesome because you're only gone for 3 days, right? And come home for a day or two and then go back on the boards to go back out. So our department sent, I don't know how many people went out, how many times, but I spent, I think, 3 or 4 different trips up there to different parts of the fire. Actually stayed in the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, wow.
The last part of it, yeah.
Nice.
was
How was
cool.
that?
It was awesome. It was a lot
Really?
of fun, yeah. That one, those 3 days is when it snowed the 2 feet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we were up there when Estes Park was evacuated. We were working
Yeah.
nights.
Nice.
Yeah, we were working nights. So we go to bed at like 6 a.m. or something, you know, and fire was really, really mellow that night. And our phones are blowing up. And so wake up, each person had a different hotel room. Wake up and walk outside, and it looked as dark as it is right now.
Oh,
Like,
my gosh.
couldn't see the sun, and we're like, walk out to the street, and there's just a line of cars of people leaving Estes. Like, what did we miss? Like, what is happening right now? So they called all the resources, days and nights, woke everybody up, had to get and gather somewhere, and then from there try and figure out pinpoint where we were going to move people throughout the day. It was just a nightmare of all these resources,
Yeah.
and then you have the fire has, X amount of people here that they know about, but then local agencies and all these new resources are being sent up to the fires too. So then they have these incoming resources they don't know they have. They don't, I felt really bad for everybody in charge of trying to manipulate.
Just a train wreck.
Yeah. They handled it really well, but it was just a lot of hurry up and wait and hurry up and move and dancing back and forth. But
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Because I know, like, last year, too, it was like ash, like, just
That was pretty
like
bad.
snow.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
It was snowing
wild.
ash. Yeah.
Therefore, I'm like, wow, actually, we're wearing a mask for a good reason right now because it's blocking all the...
filtering it, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's wild.
I think the only other time I remember that was when the High Park kicked off in 2012, I think it was, up in Fort Collins.
Dang.
That last big one. I think that was
No, I don't remember that.
Really?
Yeah, we would have been in high school.
Isn't it funny
I don't
what you
remember that at
don't
all.
remember, like, before you enter the big world?
I
The
know,
adult world.
I don't
literally.
remember a single wildfire growing up as a kid. Not a single one.
Same. I feel like now I'm like, what the hell does this happen literally every year? And it does happen every year.
Yeah, it's
I know, like, last year, I was freaking. I'm like, oh, my gosh, like,
like, I'm
we need
scared.
rain.
yeah. High Park was similar, Yeah, it was just blowing up constantly, and people were coming in from all over the country, and that was my first real fire, forest fire.
Yeah.
So it was a good one to get my feet wet with, because you got to see it all from aircraft to boots on the ground and
Yeah,
nights and days, and but
it's crazy. I mean, what do you guys really do, though, like, to put out the fires? Like,
it depends. So, like, engines, I'm sure I'll get a lot of slack for saying it, but, like, engines typically work with water, right? So you have X amount of water in your truck, and you have hand tools and basically a big backpack with like 45 pounds to wear anytime you're outside the truck. And you can go from, we call it mopping up. So if the fire has already burnt through a neighborhood, we'll go through and we'll put out all the hot stuff, try and, make it cold for whatever, 60 feet in the entire lane or in the entire line as far as we need to go that day. Hand crews, sometimes we do big backburns. So we have these things called drip torches with mixed fuel inside, and you light the end of it on fire. You just pour the fuel on the ground and you walk, and then it burns up to the fire and takes away all that fuel. So you're controlling the fire spread, not the other way around.
okay.
Aircraft, helicopters, seats, dig hand line. Like, that's probably the most common for.
Literally just digging a fucking trench.
Yeah. Shovels and hose and like specialty tools. And you just 20 dudes lined out in a row, and you just dig the ground for as deep as you need to get to mineral soil.
Yeah.
Just so you can't have the, fuel slop over and keep going. That's pretty rough. And then chainsaws. So chainsaws are out first, and they're cutting the trees and the brush. And then you have all your hand tools come in and scrape the ground. And it's not too bad here, but like the Pacific Northwest, the needle duff there is like feet. So these guys are digging feet down to get to mineral soil. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they have it rough up there.
Jeez.
Yeah, those guys are rugged.
Yeah,
So,
Damn, dude.
that's crazy.
yeah.
What would be like a good tip to just wrap up the conversation here for somebody that they're just at home barbecuing, something happens, boom, there's a fire.
Just keep extinguishers, throughout the
Yeah.
house and be
Okay.
ready. Don't be afraid to call 911. I think that's probably
Do you know where ours is?
Yes, underneath the sink. Boom.
nice. Gotcha.
I don't know if it works.
I know. And see, that's the thing too. I mean, I've never used one before. I don't even know if I even know how to use it, to be honest.
Let's pull the pin, right?
Yeah, there's should be like a sticker on the side that shows you pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep, or sweep and squeeze. Pull the pin, squeeze the trigger, and then you just sweep it at the base of the fire.
Okay.
But I bet there's a picture of it if it's a newer one.
Okay. So then that's just pretty much like the best thing to use to kind of put out something.
Yeah, depending on what it is, right? And if you're really not sure, if you're inside, then just get out, shut the doors. That's really important for us.
Shutting the doors.
Yeah, if we leave all the doors open, right, you have all that
Oxygen.
fuel and area just feeding the fire. But if you shut it, it gives us time to get in there and get ready. So,
Okay.
yeah, shut doors.
I
Don't
like
be
that.
afraid to call 911.
I like that.
Yeah.
Super
Well, thank
simple.
you.
Yeah, of course.
Something I like to ask is if you can go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice for your older self. Or maybe it's you're giving yourself some advice for literally when you're like old as fuck and you just want to remember something.
Dang.
Always hitting them with the toughest question. All of our guests.
Advice for when I'm younger, or when I was younger. Don't be afraid to not chase my dreams, you know? Like, I just didn't think I was going to ever be able to do it. So I just kind of steered without even trying, right? I didn't apply. I didn't do anything. I didn't do the research. I was really lazy that way. So just, worst case, you fail, and then you can try again. But not trying at all, you're never going to know what happened or what should have happened.
Hell yeah.
So
I love that. Yes.
Hell yeah. I think everybody needs to hear that. So there's a lot of shit that I didn't do when I was young too, just because I was fucking scared.
Yeah.
Yep. I think my biggest regret so far would have been not joining the military. Same thing.
Really?
Yeah. I always wanted to join the military as a kid. Like even before fire, that was my go-to, and just didn't. Parents kind of talked me out of it a little bit, and probably for good reason, right? You never know why, but
Right.
I think that would have mentally set me up better, or worse, I guess. But I think I was really immature out of high school and not having any structure on where to go and what to do. And my parents were really trying to push me and help me, and I was just lazy that way. I didn't mind working hard and stuff, but just to do the research and try and find something I wanted to do, I was really lazy. So I think the military would have helped me out with that.
I think because of the whole discipline, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have made me mentally tougher for sure. I think a lot of that was slow to come for me.
Yeah.
So
I like that though.
That
I
was
feel like we
perfect,
all
yeah.
can definitely use some discipline, self-discipline.
Yeah. Hell
No
yeah.
doubt.
Well, cool. I think that's it, right?
I think that's perfect.
Cool. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you again for coming on the podcast, on the
course.
Sancha and Sancho podcast.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for giving us the time for sure. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
All right, cool. Well, I think that is a wrap, amigos. Until next time. Yeah.
Keep
Till next
tuning
time,
in,
right?
like always. Make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button or the little bell over there to get notifications every time we drop a new podcast like this one. So, hell yeah. We appreciate you guys. Tune in next week. Have a great rest of the week, everybody.
Bye, amigos.